Are you ready for some bold predictions that may or probably not will be true? But we're going to dive into my thoughts on things that are coming up that I think are going to happen for reals up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RealCaribbeanBlog.com. If you're like me, whether you're driving and just staring out onto the horizon, or perhaps you are in the shower, or you're getting ready for your day, trying to go to sleep, you're daydreaming constantly about Royal Caribbean and what could possibly be. Maybe it's just me. But I think a lot of cases people openly debate what to expect as Royal Caribbean goes into the future. As you know, Royal Caribbean plays a lot of things close to the vest. But today, I wanted to give you 5 bold predictions about things I think are going to be happening with Royal Caribbean. And these are things that go beyond like the small things. I'm just like a big picture, things we've been talking about a lot. Starting with number 1, how much is the new Royal Beach Club at Paradise Island going to cost when it opens at Royal Caribbean's new private beach destination? As you know, later this year, in fact, in December, Royal Caribbean is going to open its first ever beach club over in Nassau, Bahamas. This is going to be an all-inclusive Royal Caribbean exclusive, meaning that only Royal Caribbean guests can go there. But unlike Perfect Day at Coco Cay, it's not for everybody, meaning there is a limited admission and you have to pay for it, which of course infers, well, what is it going to cost? It's going to be all-inclusive. It's going to have multiple beaches, pools, and there'll be cabanas that you can rent as well. I'm going to leave the cabanas out of it for a second because we're going to be talking about just simply the price of admission. Now, assuming the fact that it's all-inclusive, number 1, that's going to draw up the price quite a bit. Number 2, I was like, well, what does a day pass go for in the Bahamas? So I went to resortforaday.com to look at what they're listed for, keeping in mind that I'm going to assume that these other resorts are going to be cheaper than what Royal Caribbean is going to offer. Typically, cruise lines tend to apply some sort of a premium to what they sell. Margaritaville is charging $134 per adult for its beach resort access plus water park plus lunch. The Baha Mar water park costs $160 per person. That doesn't include food or drink. And Atlantis Day Pass for non-Atlantis guests is $255 for adults. So if we're assuming that's kind of the baseline about what these resorts are typically charging, I'm going to say Royal Caribbean is going to charge no less than $200 a person, and I think it'll be higher than that. Again, it's all-inclusive, and it's limited to just a couple of thousand guests. I think there's a lot of factors involved. Number 1, it is all-inclusive, so whenever you have alcohol and food included, that's going to drive up the price, or at least the alcohol that drives up the price. So that's number 1. Number 2 is, again, what we're seeing for other resorts in the area, and in this case, I think it definitely is going to dictate, in a lot of cases, what the baseline is going to be. Of course, I'm hoping I'm dead wrong on this and it's significantly less than that, but from the get-go, when you start looking at what other places are charging in the Bahamas, I just have a hard time believing Royal Caribbean's going to come in significantly less than all of that, especially considering where those other resorts are booked at. No matter what the price is, short of it being like less than $100 a person, which I doubt, I think the new beach clubs are going to be things that truly you're going to be doing once in a while, not necessarily every single trip. Like Perfect Day at Coco Cay, you can go there every single time, not only because your cruise ship docks there, but because there's enough happening there and you can easily have a great time because it's included in your cruise fare. This is no different than any other shore excursion out there. It's certainly unique, and because it's all-inclusive, it's going to have a higher price. Now, you certainly can't compare it to other all-inclusives elsewhere in the Caribbean, like what they charge in Cozumel, because, of course, it's a different market over there. If you look at all-inclusive resorts over in Cozumel, the price is significantly different because it's Mexico, and the Bahamas, for whatever reason, charges a much higher rate. So really, in my mind, I'm kind of thinking about this almost like the Coco Beach Club at Perfect Day, where that's something I go to when the price is right, when I want to splurge, when I've got family in town and maybe want to go in for a cabana, but not necessarily something I go to every single time. Again, we might be dead wrong on all this, and we'll have to see when it actually opens, which, by the way, is scheduled to occur in December of this year, and tickets should go on sale sometime this spring. Royal Caribbean's alluded to that, but hasn't actually nailed down a date. Next up, the name of Icon 4. As we know, Royal Caribbean has ordered a 4th Icon class cruise ship. They have Icon of the Seas, Star of the Seas, and they have Legend of the Seas. Will be the 3rd one that'll be coming out next year. So what will be the name of the 4th one be? I was kind of thinking about this, and I thought to myself, well, at first I was going to go with a used name again. I thought the idea for Legend was really smart. But I also think that Royal Caribbean is looking at this not so much the fact that it's a reused name and that's the reason to use it. Rather, I think they're looking for names that kind of evoke the same sense that Icon has. Icon, a star, a legend. I certainly don't think that any of the sovereign class names like Sovereign, Monarch, or Majesty truly evoke that. Splendor, it was always a weird spelling to begin with, so I feel like that's going to be an issue. Empress, I wish, but no. So in my mind, I feel like that's out of it. Now, Roller Caribbean has trademarked a number of names over the years. Most of these have been on these, like, could it be, but never is list. Happy of the Seas, Fun of the Seas, Idol of the Seas, Love of the Seas, Nova of the Seas, Titan of the Seas, Son of the Seas, Marquis of the Seas, Hero of the Seas, and Fantasia of the Seas. I'll be honest with all of you, I feel like most of these are red herrings. Royal Caribbean puts these out purposefully to distract us from what the real name is going to be. But truly, the two names that jump out to me are Hero of the Seas and Fun of the Seas. And I don't love Fun of the Seas, and I'm not a huge fan of Hero of the Seas, but I feel like it at least kind of sort of is in that ballpark of names that possibly could sound like that. I mean, truly, you need something that's like a synonym for idol or star. And Hero seems to be a name that would fit that bill. Of course, with all cruise ship names, to be fair, before you all think that these are terrible names, because maybe they are, I would simply say that we all get used to them after a while. I always thought Anthem of the Seas and Symphony of the Seas were terrible names for cruise ships, but you say them enough times, get used to them over a couple of months, and then sooner or later, they just become second nature, and I think that'll be the case with whatever Icon 4 is going to be. Let's switch to a timely topic, and that is Labid. And my next bold prediction is Royal Caribbean is never going to get rid of Labid. Labid's been going through a lot of issues, and if you've been tracking this on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, earlier in April, Royal Caribbean hit the pause button again for ship visits to its private destination in Labid, which is located in the country of Haiti. This is the second time they've done this. Last year, they went from March to October without any visits. This time around, they haven't quite given us a timeline. They've simply just hit the pause button, and they're going to wait and see what happens. But the thing is, a lot of people are wondering, is this really time to cut bait with Labid? Royal Caribbean's had a relationship with Haiti going back to the late 80s when Royal Caribbean acquired the property from Ambassador Cruise Line. Kind of like your stock portfolio from time to time, it can go down, but most of the time it'll go up. And I feel like most of the time, Labid is going to be open and available for people to go there. Unfortunately, Haiti is dealing with worse problems than they usually have. Haiti is a country that's been plagued for centuries with bad problems. There's just an unfortunately unlucky country with people that are suffering over there. And the situation there has never been great. It's just simply been at varying degrees of not great. And as a result of it, with some of the more turbulent issues happening right now, along with some gang violence and civil strife, it's really exemplified and heightened some of the sensitivities related to it. All that being said, there has been no actual direct issues to the safety of the people visiting Labid or even Labid itself. It's such in a remote area, walled off from the rest of the country, that it simply just isn't on many maps for being, obviously a highly sought after target. But obviously, Royal Caribbean is sensitive to these things. Also, they have more information than I do, certainly, of threats and all that kind of stuff. So I think at the end of the day, they're going to go back there. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to have ships that'll be visiting there for years and years to come. But clearly right now they're going through an issue. But it also seems to be fairly consistent in the fact that they can hit the pause button. Labid is not like Perfect Day Key, which is the centerpiece of their Caribbean cruise model. It really has not had as many stops compared to Perfect Day. It's actually been a byproduct. Ever since Perfect Day came out, Royal Caribbean shifted away ship visits from Labid to Key, not as a result of the violence there, but simply because they just think it's a better guest experience, so they draw more ships there. So this isn't like a major focal point. Plus, you're also going to have Perfect Day Mexico coming online, as well as more visits to places that have these beach clubs like Nassau and Cozumel. All right, on to the question I know so many of you have been asking me, and I've been asking myself this. When is Royal Caribbean going to announce the Discovery Class? The Discovery Class is the so-called name of a new, smaller, and I'm using air quotes here, smaller cruise ship class. It's a project that Royal Caribbean has been long rumored and hinted and winked at that they're working on to replace the aging Vision and even Radiance class cruise ships out there. So when will they actually announce it? I remember last year there was I think it was a TikTok or an Instagram reel video with Michael Bailey who said there would be an announcement by the end of the year. That never actually happened. Obviously, we're here now in mid-2025 and that still has not occurred yet. So when will they actually announce it? When they say announce, by definition is, yes, we're doing Project Discovery, and the first ship will come out by this year, whatever the year that happens to be. In my opinion, my bold prediction is they're going to announce the Discovery Class at the launch of Star of the Seas. Why that time? I just feel like it makes sense because they get to build on the hype of it. I mean, to some extent, I can also see from a marketing standpoint that Star is going to have so much hype and so much attention Why infringe on that and rather wait for a moment in which they don't have as much of a marketing attention perspective and then create a whole new news cycle related to that? Actually, as I'm saying this, that makes a lot of sense, actually. But maybe they're going to go about it the way that like Apple devices do this, like when they're like one more thing kind of announcement. I can see that. Not to mention the fact that Michael Bailey will be there. And Michael Bailey, among his many qualities, is he loves to drop hints and tidbits and pieces of information. And again, it would just seem like that might be the appropriate time. And my last bold prediction is related to kind of the last one, which is the Discovery class ships, which are going to replace the Vision class. So I think that all the Vision class ships will be sold before 2030. Now that's, I think, a bold prediction because we're already in 2025. And usually when you sell a ship, it takes about a few months for it to be truly sold. Like they'll announce it and then they announce like, okay, the ship will be sold, 6, 9, 12 months from now. And there's the last sailing of it. I mean, to be fair, Royal Caribbean wanted to sell Grandeur of the Seas back in 2020. That didn't happen, obviously. But I feel like because the cruise market is so strong now and demand for cruises is so strong and the stock market, it's up and down. But I mean, stock prices are doing better than they were a couple of years ago. Things are in a good spot that demand for the used cruise ship market is only going to go up from here. And I think finally Royal is going to see an opportunity to get money back, good money back, for selling their ship. So I do believe that we'll see the Vision class ship sold before 2030. I got to admit, of all my predictions, well, probably my Icon 4 prediction is the one I have the least faith in actually happening. But the Vision class ships being sold before 2030 is probably close to that one. We'll see. Let me know in the comments below which ones you agree with, which ones do you think I'm dead wrong on, and if you're feeling particularly bold, let me know your predictions that you can see coming in the future, even things that I didn't even talk about. I'd love to hear what you have on your mind and what you're thinking. Maybe you'd be totally right, and I'd love to see those. While you're down below our video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way YouTube lets you know we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.